Does cables make a difference? That's what I want to talk about today. For me, the answer is yes. Cables make a difference. The reason why cables make a difference, it all depends on your system and how it's set up. Have you done your acoustic treatment? Have you selected the right gear? Is your system transparent enough? If the answer is yes to those questions, then adding you know quality cabling to your setup is a must. And I know this subject is always controversial, because you have such a split down the middle. You have on one side the camp that says, cables don't make a difference. There's no difference in, cable A and cable B, that you can just order, cables on Amazon, stick it in the signal chain and call it a day. And then you have on the other side those that say that, cables do make a difference. And I'm on that side of the fence that says quality cables in your setup will make a difference. If your system is transparent enough, you will hear those differences. But I'm not saying the differences are always positive, because when I've demoed cables in my setup, they're either positive results or negative results. And it's not simply just sticking cables in your system and then switching back and forth and then, saying, oh, well, there's no difference. That's not how you evaluate cables. And I don't believe, when you're demoing cables for your setup, blind test is the way to go. In my opinion, the way you should demo cables in your setup when you're trying to decide what cables to get is to get, 2-3 sets of those cables, whether it's a RCA, USB cables. Then you insert one in your system, in your setup, listen to it for a few days, and then you switch to the next cable. The reason why you want to give a few days with each cable is so that you can adjust to the cable and really hear what the cable, how it's presenting in your setup. That's how you want to evaluate it. Where you start in the signal chain, I believe you start with the source. Whether you have a streamer or turntable, CD player. I started with the USB cable. And I heard differences when I was demoing, when I was making a decision on what USB cable to get. Some will say no, that there's no difference and, it's all ones and zeros, but I'm here to tell you, if your system is transparent enough, you will hear a difference. Because I've heard the difference in my setup. I know some might say, oh, it's all placebo and snake oil, but I consistently hear differences with different cabling. And it's not about price. It's not about you gotta spend, $10,000 on cables, but I believe you have to have quality cables in your setup. And you also really should have a system that's transparent, that can demonstrate those differences. I don't believe you should really put expensive cables in your system if you're just dealing with a basic system. I don't believe that's the way to go, because you might not hear the nuances that are present with the differences in cable. So, that's my take on how, that I believe cabling makes a difference, and you can hear the difference and you will hear the differences when your system is transparent. So, you know, that's my take on it, and that's what it is. All right. Thanks for listening. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate the